This is not financial advice.
This segment is where we celebrate some of the worst financial advice going. It's off the back of our weekly wrap on Instagram, so make sure you're following us on Instagram. And today we are taking aim at 60 minutes.
Yes, we normally look at social media, but this is one of the biggest news shows on one of the biggest TV networks here in Australia.
Yeah.
I would say that most hard journalism has left the building at our commercial TV networks, 7, 9 and 10. Except for the news bulletins, you don't get a lot of like long form reporting, except for a show like 60 Minutes. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, that's fair to say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Look, I don't watch a lot of 60 Minutes because I don't necessarily see it as the hard-hitting journalism that I'm after.
No, I'm not saying it's hard-hitting journalism. I'm saying it's commercial TV's version of hard-hitting journalism.
Yes,
yeah?
correct.
Yeah. Well, we were certainly hit hard when we saw the journalism that they brought on a couple of weeks ago. They brought a commentator from the US, an economist, Harry Dent Jr., to talk about the Aussie housing market. And rather than us summarizing what he said, we're going to play a clip that we think is worth listening to. It's about 2.5 minutes, but just trust us, it's worth listening to.
Owning a home has become out of reach for many Australians. Which brings us to another problem. House prices are too high in Australia. US economic commentator Harry Dent says it's a worldwide issue that's been years in the making.
The greatest boom in history was from 1983 to 2007. Natural boom. All since 2008, all the stock markets since then around the world, and especially, it's all been totally artificial, totally funded by stimulus, which is not sustainable and is basically just not good. Having that much stimulus in the economy is like taking a powerful drug. It cannot work out well. You got to detox it at some point. That's what this is, a worldwide detox of debt and real estate and financial asset bubble.
For Australia, Harry has grim news. He warns house prices will plummet.
If you buy a house now, I am predicting you could lose as much as 50%, give or take, in the coming years.
Are you truly saying that people's homes are going to fall by 50%, half the amount they're worth today?
US already fell. Average home, 34% in the last downturn, and 50% for upscale homes. And people said that couldn't happen, okay? This is a bigger bubble.
When is this crash going to happen?
I think it's going to start in the second half of 2024 in the US and spread. I think the US is going to start a recession that spreads around the world because this is a global phenomenon, especially the real estate bubble. It's everywhere.
It's a dilemma made even more complicated in Australia because houses are in such short supply.
For a young person, I mean, my advice is very simple. If you have not bought your first home yet, do not.
And for those who do have a home, if they can, Harry reckons they should sell now, at the top of the market.
If you sell now, you're going to be ahead of the crowd. And then when things go down, you're going to be able to buy at least twice the home for the same price and mortgage. That's the bonus.
Two things for me here.
And let's remember that this is hard-hitting journalism on a flagship news show on Australian TV.
Firstly, I'm pretty sure we've done some of his stuff before on our Not Financial Advice. Yeah, because he writes a lot. He's a newsletter writer. Overseas, US commentator. Look, this is not a storyline that is new news. I remember 2017, 2018, people were talking about a crash. 2020, people were talking about a crash. This is not new news, but for me, this is just someone who wants to get some headlines, and nothing hits Australians more emotionally than telling them the houses are going to crash.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yeah.
I think where we should go from here, Ren, though, is this isn't the first time he's said something like this.
Yes. Now, we should give a hat tip to the ABC's Media Watch for pulling these clips together because we've pulled them from their research. But Harry Dent has a history of doing this. So that was him in 2024 on 60 Minutes. Here's him in 2023, also on Channel 9's Today Show.
One outspoken US economist is predicting the biggest market crash in our lifetime. Yay. Harry, morning to you. That's quite a frightening prediction you've made. Walk us through what you expect will happen.
Or how about this, also on Channel 9 from 2022?
Is now a time for people to be buying property if they're looking first-home buyers?
No, you have to wait another couple of years. I'm seeing property prices are going to go down 40 to 50%.
So he made the same call 2 years ago.
Yes.
In which house prices around Australia have gone 50% the other way in some markets.
Yeah, true. But look, this isn't a new prediction from Harry Dent. And so far we've just targeted Channel 9. But they are not alone in getting the alarmist Economist on to generate headlines. How's this from 2011 on Channel 7's Sunrise?
If you're a young couple, do not buy a house if you're getting married for another 3 years and let the crash happen and then this greatest sale in history. I mean, who doesn't like a sale? Imagine buying stocks and real estate 50, 60, 70% lower.
I mean, he's right there. Who doesn't love a sale? But look, so he's been pushing this story for almost 15 years now.
Yes. But just 2011.
Yeah.
Since 2011, house prices have doubled.
Yeah.
More than doubled in some cases.
Bad financial advice.
Terrible financial advice.
Yeah.
Irresponsible programming from the 7 and 9 people who continue to platform this guy. And just like the idea that Australian housing is going to fall 50% by next year, stupid.
Yeah. Well, I think time and time again we've had proper experts on the show who have put clear argument as to why supply and demand and many factors are going into a sustained house price growth.
It is true that the government has overprinted money and that there's a looming debt crisis at some point. It is true that Australian property is a bubble, but that isn't enough to talk about the structural drivers of house price growth and what is going to change those.
Well, the sad thing is, or maybe the unfortunate thing is, there may have been a number of people watching there who unfortunately take advice from Mr. Dent. Is it Dent?
Yeah,
Yes.
Dent. It's just like, imagine if you were a couple that were watching watching Sunrise in 2011 and you didn't buy because you heard that.
Yeah, and then you heard him again in 2022, 2023, and 2024.
Yeah, but your savings rate can't keep up with the rate of house price growth over the last 10 years. It's obviously we do this segment to celebrate poor financial advice, but it's also just like, come on, do better.
Yeah. Well, no doubt that he'll make an appearance on one of the networks in 2025, at which point I'm sure there also won't have been a crash of 50%. He's going to be right at what's the saying?
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Broken clock's right twice a day. He may be right at some point to the tune of 50%. Who knows? But yes, buyer beware when listening to people like this.
Equity line.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.